AskReddit by Justice 76 GRL. Martin Luther King, Jr. said, "If you can't fly then run. If you can't run then walk. If you can't walk then crawl. But whatever you do you have to keep moving forward." What are your life examples of this? After my mom died, I set a single goal to do something productive each day. For a while it was getting out of bed. Then it was brushing my hair. Then it was cooking something to eat. As each little thing graduated from my thing for the day to just habit, I would add a new thing. It took a while to be functional again. It really did feel like I was crawling when everyone else was running. This is a real tactic and works well. I always tell myself I have to do 2 things every day. Depending on the day, it could be just getting out of bed and feeding myself. On better days, it's getting some work done and doing dishes. Just committing to 2 things sounds simple, so it helps keep me to it. And sorry about your mom. I hope you're doing okay and continuing to graduate and doing the things. Exercise. A couple months ago I was crawling, now I'm walking. Doubt I'll ever be flying, but at least I'm stronger than I was. That is awesome, not gonna lie, I was pretty sedentary in high school. Around 18 I started riding my bicycle every day, and after about a year I was riding about 100 miles a week. This is going to sound stupid to most who haven't been through it, but my ex-husband of 17 years cheated on me with my best friend. It's also cliche. We had 2 preteen boys that he didn't want anything to do with. Somehow I kicked him out of the house. Didn't accept his fake apologies. And then watched my run turn into a walk, then a crawl. I dragged us through every day. It happened the last 2 weeks of school, and I still went to their end of the year award programs and smiled even though neighbors were whispering, and I hosted birthday parties minus a parent, and I taught one to drive. I am not completely sure how I was strong enough, but I brought us all forward in those dark days. I wasn't going to let this affect them. And now, even with their dad living 3 miles away with his new family and acting like they don't exist, I crawl with them on my back. Edit. I really appreciate all the kindness. It's comforting to hear the positive thoughts, as it's often so isolating. I can't believe I received so many comments. I plan to read and respond to all. Oh, and the awards. Wow. Never got one of those before. You did the right thing. Your neighbors had no right to judge you. My wife died June 2015. I lost my job the same moment she passed because I was her in-home caretaker for 3 years because she was in a persistent vegetative state. I got addicted to methamphetamines again after 22 years of sobriety. My service dog of 10 years died. I survived an attempted murder from 2 people with rebar and wound up with brain damage and a broken neck. I got evicted because I couldn't afford any more to live in our townhome. I walked away from 30 years of memories because I had nowhere to store anything. I spent 2.5 years homeless, living on the streets and in shelters, and the majority of everything that happens to me happened in 6 months. I finally got on social security for schizoaffective disorder that I got from using drugs after my wife died, and I finally got a home again back in September. The point is, I got through it all because I kept moving forward. Holy shit, I can't even imagine going through what you did. Kudos for sticking it through. Do you have a new service dog? My career. I feel like I'm flying now, but holy smokes, did I start off as a slow crawl though. Edit. I work at a Nick company for everyone asking. What was your career in? This is extremely minor, but I completed a 5K. I'm not a runner. In fact, I hate running. I have short legs and small feet. I'm slow and overweight. I did train, albeit not much. I started the race by running until I was out of breath, 1 stroke 2 mile in. Then it was intermittent walking and running until the end. I was the second to last person to finish, but I didn't care. It was one of the best highs I've ever had. It felt good to accomplish something I always told myself I would do someday, but never worked up the courage to try. I was proud of myself. Edit. Wow. So, RIP inbox. Thank you all for the comments, votes, and awards. This is pretty neat. I love this. Good for you. Keep after it. A while back I was trying to make an app. Learning from scratch, it was hard to find time around work, friends, girlfriend etc, but I had the mantra of if I've only got 10 minutes then do 10 minutes. The actual 10 minutes didn't achieve much, but it kept it in my mind, and when I had a spare couple of hours, I was in the mindset to do that couple of hours, and over the month my project gradually grew and grew. Eventually I got out of the habit and the app got less and less attention, so it never got finished. I'm furloughed right now. Maybe it's a good time to get crawling again. Might I ask, what is the app that you were making? When I was quickly dipping into depression again about my relationship with my dad. It was shitty, it was slow to recover, it was painful, but I didn't go back without going forward afterwards. I feel your pain, bro. My relationship with both parents for the past 10 years has been tenuous at best, and only gotten worse since 2016. Looking back on the whole relationship, most of what I remember is him trying to bully me into choosing what they wanted me to do, instead of making a choice for myself. Every once in a while they reaffirmed why I don't want a whole lot to do with them. It doesn't get any easier, but it does get less hard to endure. The first thing that came to mind was getting sober from drugs and alcohol. This process describes perfectly what I went through. Excellent quote. Being sober sucks for a while. Then your brain rewires to find the joy in life sober. Best decision I made in a long time. Hope your recovery is going well. Deleted. I am 100% with you here. We rock for schooling life while suffering on the down low. Depression. Somehow, I keep right on, enduring. https://www.reddit.com/r/c_wolf/endure_how_survive_suicide_and_depression. /closed bracket comma and it's how I survive depression and suicidal ideation every year. Cedar, what you wrote in that link to the post was fucking amazing. Thank you for sharing it. Might hit it up a bit near one point. I don't know if this has been said before in this post, but there's a phrase that I constantly think of whenever I feel like I can't move forward. An arrow has to go back in order to move forward. Granted, I know this in Spanish and can't remember where I read it, but for whoever needs to read this, it's okay to step back and see where you're at in order to know what you want to aim at. Stay strong, fellow Redditors. That's a really good quote. I'll definitely remember it. Thanks, bud. Deleted. Fun fact, Latin word order is relatively free, so either works. When I'm feeling really down, or having a blood sugar episode where I can barely get out of bed and walk far enough to the bathroom, I start saying, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya, you have killed my father. Prepare to die. Legend. When my heavy wheelchair broke down right before my final architecture school assignment, I asked random strangers to take the freshly printed floor plans to the right classroom. Everyone was running to get their own stuff delivered in time, so I asked people to push me for 10 or so. The third guy pushed me all the way through, and the plans got delivered in time. Thank you, kind strangers. I would hope your profs would have been understanding had you handed in your assignment late. Drawing. After losing everything I ever drew in my life due to a crappy moving company, I was devastated and didn't draw for a few years. Eventually got a whiteboard and said, I'll just do a stupid little doodle once a week. Then it became once a day. They got more elaborate. Then 5 days ago I picked up a sketchbook and pencil for the first time in years and said, just 10 minutes. A couple of days a week. I've ended up getting lost in it for a couple of hours already, and I can't describe the feeling of joy when I looked at the completed outline and thought, holy shit, it actually looks like the thing I'm drawing. I have barely begun shading, but I'm so excited to continue it tomorrow. When I left my abusive ex-husband, immediately before he had maxed out my credit cards and spent all of the savings earlier, he prevented me from finishing my BS and from working. I had two toddlers and friends who were kind enough to share time watching the babies so I could work enough to get by. He stalked me and harassed me with threats daily. I also broke a tooth in half, stress grinding, and was hospitalized for a week for what should have been a minor illness. There were at least 5 times I could have easily died that year. I did some work from home and paid off enough of my credit line to charge tuition to it. I honestly thought it would kill me, but I finished a degree and kept my babies alive while well under the poverty line with only some help from friends. Just enough childcare to cover, sometimes not enough, and I'd have to call in. It felt impossible. The only thing that got me through was telling myself that I could because I was already doing it, so I could keep on doing it in the belief that eventually it would be better. We got through. I got a degree and a decent job, the kids are well. I bought a house. We've come so far in just a few years. It's amazing, really. Overcoming sex addiction. It caused the end of my relationship and all I can do is keep pushing forward. If I stop the momentum I will be stuck at square one in the pit of despair. I will do better every day from here on. I'm glad you are getting better. You got this. Just out of curiosity and with all due respect, if you don't mind me asking, what does the addiction feel like? I imagine it's different from what people actually think of it. Feel free to answer only if you feel comfortable, of course. Higher education. If I can't get an A, get a B. If I can't finish a paper, at least write 3/4 of it really well. And if I feel like giving up, just do one sentence at a time. So far it's worked. I have 1 semester left for my bachelor's, then it's Harvard. Holy shit, congratulations. I'm finishing up my bachelor's too, we'll get there together. Although I'm not going to Harvard, lol, fuck that, but I hope you do really well and feel happy there. The one time I went to a SAR support group at the hospital following my overdose, which was a reaction to being raped, the therapist told me this exact quote. I was 18 and not one part of me wanted to be alive, and those few weeks were the hardest of my life. But those words stuck with me. I didn't really get out of bed much once home, but after a few days I kept thinking about this and remember quite literally rolling out of bed and basically crawling to the bathroom to shower for the first time in a while. A very literal example, but I think of this quote a lot. When times are tough, sometimes you really just have to endure and crawl until you can continue on your path walking. Sometimes it's just the dishes. Gotta just roll up your sleeves and do it, even if you're tired and just want to watch Netflix and become one with the couch. Pulling myself out of a mental health situation. Hearing voices. I had full-on conversations every waking moment for about a year, then one day I woke up and said screw this. This isn't normal. Got serious about fixing it and I did it. Good job. That's nothing to overcome. I'm so proud of you. I was once a fully non-functional alcoholic. In and out of jail, losing jobs, almost died, the whole 9 yards. Now I'm a functioning alcoholic. I drink way too much, but I have a stable job, haven't been arrested in over 3 years, building credit, the whole other yard. So I got that going for me, which is nice. Learning to play guitar. Wildly discouraging at first, with many opportunities to quit for somebody that has never picked up an instrument besides the elementary school recorder. Getting sober. There were days when all I could do was just take each minute at a time crawling, but with time, the minute turned to an hour, then a day, then a couple of days, so on and so forth, until I was running. I began opioid addiction treatment 2 days before my birthday. It's my hardest fought battle, but also the greatest gift I ever gave myself. I'll be 5 years clean in 3 months. Wife recently passed away, and I know no matter how much I struggle, I need to keep moving forward. OMG, dude, I am so sorry to hear that. Me and my wife split 2 years ago and everything has been a shitshow since then. To say I had a hard time with it would be a huge understatement. And even though I can't fully know your pain, I can relate to similar feelings. My heart goes out to you. I wish you the best. Feel free to PM me if you would like. I'm always available to talk. I did 6 push-ups today. Tomorrow 7. Me today, fighting my depression-induced food aversion to actually eat good food today. I managed half a plate of tikka masala and some Nutella pretzels. That's big for me. Aaron Yeager. I just keep moving forwards until all my enemies are destroyed. Losing weight and sticking to an exercise regimen. In March of 2008 I had an aneurysm, killing me. After 3 emergency brain surgeries I was left in a coma for 3 days. This March, it will be 13 years. I am alive. IDK fully, but when I was 25 I wanted to commit suicide and at 33 I'm so thankful I did not. I'm poor, unemployed and feel no real sense of purpose. But based on what I've survived before, I know this is fleeting and I will rise again, just like every time before. When I was 16 I had just gotten out of an abusive relationship where I was sexually assaulted. Shortly afterwards I met someone who actually treated me decently but I miscarried our child. Then my parents started doing meth and my mom lost her job. Shortly after I was robbed and became homeless. Corona happened. 2 of my friends attempted suicide. One died and the other didn't because I made it there in time. Through it all I managed to make it to school most days and graduate with college credit. I still don't know what I want to do but I have hope because I worked so hard. I also worked as a busser all throughout my junior and part of my senior year to save money. My mom eventually sobered up and the day I graduated we signed a lease on a house. It's still hard. Since I was robbed I still don't have much but it's enough. I'm proud at how far I've come. If you can't run, you walk, and if you can't walk, you crawl, and if you can't do that, you find someone to carry you. Malcolm Reynolds. Better quote for you. RIC, you are also a Redditor or culture. I had no idea this line was an MLK reference until now. My goal to be more confident in my appearance. I'm slowly learning to love and believe in myself. I'm not there yet but when I get there I'll be living my best life. Depression, some days you can't do anything, but you just gotta do baby steps. Those baby steps will add up and before you know it, you will be flying. I'd say my current situation is an example of this. My head's been pretty cloudy lately but when it gets bad I remind myself every breath you take is another second you're surviving and that's pretty sexy and absolutely something to be proud of. Or something roughly equivalent to that. Finances. I made a few bad decisions when I was single. Nothing all that crazy. Still had stellar credit rating. I was okay by myself. Then I married a woman with a pretty bad track record. Credit in the gutter. Together we had a little mountain of debt. Still trying to figure out this whole marriage thing. Me figuring out this whole having kids thing. I had no kids, she has 3. I didn't really realize how much having them under me would cost me even with her working. But anywho, I got serious about resolving the issue. Life keeps happening. Kids need this or that. But through some good budgeting, investing in myself, working hard at my job, sticking to my guns, not giving up, we have slowly gone from crawl stage to walking stage. By the beginning of next year I think we can get to the jogging stage. For about the last 6 months I have everyday contemplated killing myself. I say fuck it, I'll lay in bed all day and get drunk and die in my sleep. Well, recently I've been getting out of bed and moving around trying to be a functional human being again. And I guess that's something. Chondrosarcoma at 18. Had a major surgery, scapulectomy, to remove the tumor, but unfortunately resulted in crippling my arm a bit. I can still use it, but there is little strength in the limb. Decided to tell cancer it could go fuck itself into the next millennium, and rolled with my new reality. Graduated high school and went to college, and didn't let my shoulder hold me back. 2 years ago I was seriously depressed and suicidal. I could tell you what day was the worst in my life. My life had been pretty awful for a long time. My crawling was admitting everything to my brother. Next I went into therapy. Then I got a job. Through that job I got more friends than ever. I started dating someone I had gamed with online for over a year. This all was over the course of a year. This past November I moved countries to live with him, and I couldn't ask for better. I will always have depression. It's genetic and my past won't let me go. But at least I know that even if I just move a little each day I can slowly make big changes happen. Trying to excel as a healthcare provider in the age of COVID-19. I'm exhausted. I'm crawling but I'm still here. Lost some really great friends recently, as adults, and it's been horrible. But I'm trying to move forward and feel like I'm crawling. But maybe even though I feel that way I'm still moving forward. Erin took this to heart. My husband and I are both autistic and have bipolar disorder and PTSD. We're bringing in 6 figures. It's been and still is profoundly difficult for both of us to function at such a level, but we've done it. Leaving an abusive marriage very carefully to try and keep things as calm as possible. Trying to take care of my very messed up head from all the rewriting and manipulation. Slipping back into wanting to make sure he wasn't too unhappy or angry. Pulling myself out of those worries. Every day was a slow crawl forward until I got him to sign divorce papers. Then I started slowly walking into really recovering. For me, it's been my battle with CPTSD over the past few years. I don't have access to a trauma counselor, so I've been figuring things out on my own. I've nearly given up a few times, even went so far as to passively start planning suicide at one point. And I'm pretty sure I'll be stuck in the crawling phase for a while yet. But I'm still here and I'm still moving forward. Finding my future wife. I keep meeting people who are pretty amazing people, but turn out totally not right for me, or they aren't interested, or a multitude of factors where I just don't click with them. I can't find that intimate relationship I'm dying to have. I'm a hopeless romantic. I found one woman that I'm head over heels for, and she is in no place to be in a relationship. It's torn my heart out. So I just keep moving. Meeting people, hoping that one day I'll be able to strike up conversation with someone who won't want to ever leave. Trying to live my life after my daughter died. Sometimes I can walk, most days I crawl. I hope there is a day that comes that I feel like running again. Me failing classes in college. Got diagnosed with bipolar disorder and OCPD, and with a combo of therapy and medicine, my grades are better and I'll graduate this year. It's hard not to compare myself to others, but on my good days I'm proud of myself.